Tonight, a What's the Story special. On the site of Manchester Airport's new runway, the tunnel protesters, one prepared to put a noose around her neck. Would you put your life at risk to save the planet? What's the story? You'll be surprised. Tonight, we're devoting the whole of the show to the inside story of the last days of the Manchester Airport protest. Most of the press were kept away as protesters were removed from their tunnels and tree houses by the Undersheriff's men. But we've gained a unique access and exclusive pictures. By living in a protesters' camp, students from the University of Salford were able to follow the action day to day, and so capture the moments of emotion, tension and danger, waiting for the bailiffs to move in. In woods at the end of the planned new runway, close enough to smell the aviation fuel, 200 eco-warriors have been living in the trees and digging tunnels for more than 4 months. Sir Cliff Richard is one of 5 protest camps on the site, each distinct with its own character. As a last resort to delay the bulldozers moving in, one protester in Cliff plans to entomb herself deep underground and put a noose around her neck.
I pull the chains onto the lid so that locks it on, and then I get the noose around my neck, which is attached to the lid so they can't pull it up straight away, and block both my arms and tubes either side with my legs down the tunnel and get those chained onto the shoring.
Personally, I don't see it as being any more extreme than lying in front of the digger, because all you're doing is putting your trust in the driver not to go forwards, which is exactly the same thing. But if people see what you're prepared to sacrifice, then it makes them confront the issues that you're talking about. They have to sit up and take notice. And it seems a rather sort of childish way to do it, but it seems the only way to get through to people, the only way to get the media coverage and have people listen.
I can't claim the credit for creating the noose idea, and that was somebody else's, and I simply said, yeah, sounds brilliant.
Her partner Martin and 2 others would be even further down the tunnel.
If there's somebody sort of locked on underneath the noose around their neck, they're going to think, oops, can't do this. You know, I'll be pretty worried when I hear her screaming when I'm down the tunnel, because there's nothing I'll be able to do, but it's the way it goes, you know. She's willing to put herself there and do this, so real proud of her. She's one of my heroes. I wouldn't put my noose in her neck, my neck in the noose, I mean.
So when still having a go at him? Excellent, you still have a dig at him? There's a pop.
We met at Newbury last year, I think it's sort of coming up 6 months now I've known him. And I thought he was an MI5 spy actually first time I met him.
Liz Snook, who's 20, quit an art foundation course to join the protest against the Newbury bypass last year. She never went back to her studies. She believes another runway is commercially unnecessary and environmentally damaging, but a public inquiry gave it the go-ahead. The airport hopes to create 50,000 jobs, a figure the protesters dispute. 1,000 acres of greenbelt, including the Bollin Valley, will be destroyed. With no more legal options, they know they can't stop the development. What they can do is create delays, increase costs, and make a stand.
Obviously, sort of being in a place that you fall in love with and you know it's going to be seamed up, and you're going to see it devastated, you're likely to be quite physically broken in the process, you know, and your friends are going to put themselves at risk. You don't know what's going to happen with them. And as you say, you know, we've built up this community, we've got almost a family here, a tribe, and we've got very little idea of when we're going to see each other again after the eviction.
The camp's created its own society.
You got 2 things really. You got Fluffy and Spiky. Spiky's where people get really physically violent, and they'll kick off to anything, react violently to any situation. Whereas Fluffy is you just really relax, you just talk to people a lot, you know, sing to them, show them pictures, do paintings, a lot, everything really. That's Fluffy. It's the difference, you know, Fluffy and Spiky. Spiky's a hardcore lot, Fluffy's a hardcore lot, but a lot more fluffy, if you know what I mean.
Over the weeks, security men have been surrounding the site with a razor wire fence to contain the protesters and control who gets in. It becomes a major point of dispute and the scene of confrontation.
Yesterday they decided that they were going to fence off around the back of Wild Garlic, so a lot of people went and put themselves in the way of the machinery and the fence building. What they did basically was link arms, lock onto the fence, do as much as possible just to stop the work going on. When it actually happens, there's a lot of camaraderie and banter goes on, and people have a laugh and a joke. Usually the security end up having a laugh and a joke with the people as well, so it's all in good humour. Occasionally it gets nasty.
When we see all of our lot getting the shit kicked out of them by your lot, you're going to get a few nutters, yeah, that are wrong for lashing out at you, yeah? But you're going to get a few people doing it, a bit like your people, yeah?
I've not seen anybody of us kick yours yet.
Oh, why, yeah?
Right.
Freaking, what about that guy that was freaking winding up before with the little beard, yeah? He freaking kicked someone in the chest. I'm the most chill person on the freaking camp, mate. I'm just venting my anger on you, yeah?
It's all right, take it out on
You know?
We try and keep it as peaceful as possible. I mean, that's our whole aim. We're non-violent, direct action.
We've got some pictures of trees.
Oh, thank you!
I believe the fluffy way is good. You know, I've only started thinking that recently over the past year and a bit. Being honest, but you know, I used to be a little bit of a spiky person, but now I'm sort of mainly fluffy. I still kick off every now and again, but that's just some things I just can't handle.
Yeah, but I want my bowl cut back.
And I react, and then it takes up a fluffy people just to bring me back to earth and fluff me right out.
Hello. I know he's going to turn round and then squeeze back out again.
Tight as you like. Hello, Mr. Bailiff.
We've been sleeping down here now for about 4 weeks. Every night. You get used to it. The only thing that I've got a qualm with is the dust, as you can see, floating all around you. It's not so bad when you keep still, but the minute you move some bedding or at the ground, it all flies up again. So that'll be the hardest point, is breathing in that all the time. But if we keep still enough and not try and keep the movement to a minimal, then we shouldn't be so bad.
How's it life in a tunnel?
Squashed. Very, very, very cramped. Not enough air most of the time, you know, because there's 3 of you down there breathing at the same time, so you've got to keep your oxygen running all the while if you're down there.
That clip there, that's the air supply. Disconnect that. Air comes off.
Every day costs them more thousands of pounds. And so the more thousands of pounds, then the less projects go on from here. That's my main aim.
Here we go. Now, I bet everyone's going to wonder, how the hell you go to the toilet? And there's the answer. A piss bottle.
I used to be claustrophobic, and that's one of the main reasons why I've done this, is to get over my fear of this. And so I've just been coming down more and more all the time, and I've overcome my fear of claustrophobia, and I actually quite like the tunnel now. I feel more secure down here than I ever could up in a tree or above ground.
I've been campaigning about 2 years now, and the reason I do it is because I love my country and I love the countryside. It pains me to see the trees get chopped down, and so we've tried legal reasons, we've tried asking them not to take the land away, but none of it's worked, so it's come down to us actually occupying the land and then waiting for them to come and drag us off the land.
Occasionally, the protesters leave the camp's fortifications to find dead wood to replenish their stores of fuel.
Just drop in a dead thing.
You know, I'm a criminal as far as they're concerned. You know, the government doesn't represent us. So who does? We have to represent ourselves. They won't let us represent ourselves in court. I can't go into court and fight this battle by myself. So I have to come out here and fight it on the land and try and do it this way.
It's always a real lifestyle of extremes, and that makes it one of the best ways of living and one of the worst ways. If you haven't got any way out, it's really, really tiring because you can't get clean, you can't get warm. You know, if your clothes get wet, there's no way of drying them if it's still raining. You know, it's very difficult to escape from it if you're not getting on.
I don't sign on. I don't have any money of my own, but I've ate well right from day one from the moment I stepped on this site. And I've always ate well, and that's all I need to do. But it's all come from the local people.
Some people see it as an easy life. It is easy, I suppose, in the fact of we don't have to sort of get up in the morning, have the stress of going to work, have the stress of getting money in to pay the mortgage. It's easy along them lines, but then you got like the quag and the serious attitudes of everybody else sometimes, you know, because there's so many heads banging off each other. You've got to really sort of calm things down and keep people under control if possible. I know it's wrong to control people, but sometimes some people do need controlling.
No, Mr. Bailey.
Split it. Oh, they're a lot more sturdy than the other ones.
Just leave it there as with Rex.
That'll do. Dead.
Kev, why didn't you take it off him first? Exactly. Now, I need some string to tie it to the gate. This is fun, this, you know. Slag off security, it's very therapeutic. I would rather be a pixie than a scamp. We'd rather be a pixie, I'd rather be a pixie than a scamp.
Pixies. Pixies are activists who like going out and trashing fence and generators and diggers and whatever you can get your hands on, really. So a pixie mission is where, you know, one minute you've got normal people on camp, the next minute there's loads of balaclava people wandering about outside the camp with bolt cutters and things like that. Some people see it as criminal damage, we see it as fair game, really. We're not hurting anybody by it. You know, yeah, cost-wise, but no physical hurt, so if people aren't getting physically hurt, I don't see what's wrong with it. You know, it's not vandalism. Vandalism's where, you know, you're just hurting somebody indiscriminately. This is hurting somebody because we've got a reason to hurt them. You know, hurt them in the pocket as much as possible.
One favoured pixie tactic is the night raid. While decoys circle around, others try to damage the fence.
Whoa, 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 whoa!
They goad the sheriff's men before returning to camp. Dawn, Tuesday, May the 20th. The eviction of the whole site begins.
Yeah,
Had a good tip-off of from the girlfriend and one of her mates was walking across the field.
Yeah.
Some geezers pulled up in a Jag with personal number plates.
Yeah.
Got out walking across the field in an Armani suit.
Yeah.
Walked back across the field, and as he was walking back, his whistle to him, by the way, 4 o'clock Tuesday morning.
Right.
And I had the same tip off of
Walked off, mate, you know, it's like
security.
It's really weird.
Yeah.
Really, really weird how people have been tipping us off for this one.
If you go over this side walkway, you can walk round that way.
Outside Cliff Camp, there's no sign of the sheriff and his men. On the CB radio, they hear that 2 other camps, Jimi Hendrix and Zion Tree, are the first to be targeted.
Hold everything tight.
Well, it's gone off in Zion Tree and Jimi Hendrix this morning. Climbers have had people out already. Haven't bothered for us. Don't know why. Boring.
Going home in 2 weeks. At least.
I'm not usually drinking like this. This is just pre-eviction stress, honestly.
Good for you, Dave. I like the removable parts. There's going to slap police on there in a minute. Yeah.
No,
Sheriff's officer.
Yeah.
she found me out.
Yeah, there's police over by the crash gates up there. They might just be waiting for another build-up of officers, because that's more likely taking all their officers to do that. So they're more likely we're just waiting for a backup.
While the Cliff Richard protesters make their final preparations in peace, the Under-Sheriff of Cheshire, charged with removing the protesters, has been busy elsewhere. The Zion Tree and Hendricks camps have been cleared, the protesters evicted, and some charged with obstruction. It appears a strange alliance, but the middle-class locals have fed and supported the protesters throughout. Some wanted to view the camps, but access was refused to all but a famous face who lives near the airport.
The message came back that I would be given access, but the local people would not. Now, I consider that fundamentally wrong. I think these people have pursued every legal option, every legal way of trying to fight this problem. Now, why will the sheriff see me and not see me in the company of people who are intimately concerned and connected with this?
Can you explain why we're not given a camera position where we can actually see the eviction?
Any other questions? Any other questions?
I think that was a question.
Yes, I've taken enough from you, thank you very much.
Well, could I ask that question?
Yes, no, you can't. Now, I've dealt with that question, that's all I'm saying at the moment.
Why won't you answer the question? That's what you're here for.
Right, I've got nothing to hide, or... I'm not making any more comments on that particular question.
Intelligence about how the sheriff's going to deploy his tunnellers and climbers has been successfully kept from those inside the fence as well. Believing they'd be next, the protesters in Cliff Camp cut the walkways linking them to the rest of the wood.
They've got quite a few guards down here.
It's so two-sided. And like one, yeah, oh God, this is going to happen soon. And the rest is like, oh my God, it's actually going to happen. Like when it kicked off this morning, from inside the bunker, I could hear everything kicking off, and the birds were singing. And like, I was just, you know, they've done this for thousands and thousands of years, and they're going to sing, it doesn't matter what. I get stressed, I just cry, and I don't have any problem with it. And I did quite a bit this morning. I know it's really getting to Martin.
They're just pushing us.
I think they're pretty screwed up about it.
Despite the weeks of rehearsal, they now couldn't agree when to go down the tunnel.
Okay, so when 50 dawn to it, then. You want to go in, mate? Go in. I'm just there. All right. So when they come in and lock the door and you're trapped out here, I can lock it as well. I can lock it as well.
Oh, nothing. Looking forward to you, mate.
Don't be looking in the dark.
You won't have the guts to come up in the dark.
Mary? Mary? Are they still at the back gate?
Are you planning to storm in this camp, you four miserable climbers?
They're not planning that at all.
Getting in there. He's going to be evicted as well, Dave. Oh, he's going up his sleeve, he's hiding. Look.
And we sort of decided to go down and close the lid and say goodbye to the world for a little while.
As she'd practiced, Liz made herself as comfortable as possible. She locked her wrists to metal bars and slipped around her neck the noose attached to the trap door. Could it be lifted without throttling her?
I was just relieved to be there, and thinking, well, you know, I wonder how they play it, I wonder how they'll solve this one.
Kevin, get here. Kevin! Come here. Sorry, I'm losing it. That's all right, mate. Don't lose it.
There's someone in the tunnel. They've got a noose around their neck.
I knew my friend was at the surface and that he wasn't going to let them forget. I was shouting up to them and making sure they were aware of what the situation was.
Nothing's going to give, nothing's going to move at all, so it's totally safe. This won't cave in. I mean, the only way it'll cave in is if they cave it in. That's the only way that it can collapse.
and the first thing they did was attack the bunker and sort of started ripping the front door off, and then it really went quiet for about an hour while they decided what to do about the second door.
I hear things falling down on top of the lid and around me, and sort of bits of clay dust were sort of toppling onto my head, and that was quite bizarre because I knew everything we'd spent so long constructing and living in was just being dismantled, and I didn't know how long I had before they had the lid off.
The tree dwellers were an easier target.
Your friend wants to give you something. Bag, but you're not getting it.
Passes it.
No. Yeah, just sit there. You're getting it.
It took a day of careful digging so the tunnel wouldn't collapse on those inside before the sheriff's men reached the trapdoor. They prized it open just enough to see the rope.
They cut it from above, they lifted the lid up a little, a hand came in with a knife. Took quite a bit of tinkering around because they had to work out where it had been tied on. I'd arranged it quite complicatedly. And once that had been removed, they sort of let it fall down around my neck, climbed into the hole and took it off me.
They had a trophy, but the job of getting Liz out was far from over, a task that proved impossible before nightfall. The potholers retreated. The locks on her wrists, stuffed deep into drain pipes buried in the bunker walls, had defeated them. Martin down below did his best to comfort her.
You could stroke my toes, which was really nice, but that was about it. You know, that was my main human contact, and it was a great relief to have him there, but there's just not space in the shaft to move any closer. I could shout down to him and just about see his face around the corner. That was it. While I was down there, for most of the time I was locked on because I was afraid that they'd just try and reach down and pull me out.
As far as the girl in the tunnel here is concerned, her right hand can be removed by herself, so she wasn't, as I said this morning, in a total lock-on, crucifix lock-on. There is some difficulty with her left hand, not medically, but it seems to have snagged somewhere. But she will be out today because we're giving her top priority. She must come out today.
But it wasn't the sheriff's men who forced Liz to the surface after she'd spent more than 2 days in the bunker.
My downfall in the end was the fact that I simply had to sit in a pool of my own urine for about 30 hours, and come the second night it became too cold because all my bedding was wet and I knew I was heading for hypothermia.
The cat and mouse game lasted for several days more, with the protesters even filming the sheriff's potholers digging closer and closer to them.
My decision to come out was because my knees were buggered, absolutely well and truly gone. Wayne's decision for coming out was because he was feeling quite ill by Monday morning. My conditions on coming out were that I'd be allowed 5 minutes to sit on site, to take a little walk around site, see exactly what they'd done to my home, and they allowed that.
I think the childishness aspect is forced on us by our culture that only listens if you make a big spectacle of yourself, and that's unfortunate. Hopefully the culture will grow up. If it doesn't, we're going to have to keep playing games in the woods. That's all there is to it.
I'd rather be a pixie than a scamp. We'd rather be a pixie, I'd rather be a pixie than a scamp.